The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another brand new episode of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Wednesday, February 3rd. We are your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. Joined by my co-host, Tony Sanfilippo. Tony, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, Chris. Doing pretty good. It's, what is it today, Wednesday?
It's the middle of the week, yep.
Or the middle of the week, yeah, hump day. Yeah, just tired as usual. Found out I had some midnight shifts, so if I look extra exhausted this morning, sorry.
It was good reading.
I'll do my best. I'll wake up as the show goes, but here we go, another morning.
Right on. Well, speaking of work, let's go ahead and start off the show the way we do each and every day with a question for my co-host, Tony, lifelong Costco employee, manager. What is the most ridiculous thing that a member has gotten upset over?
Oh, that's a great question. Lately, it's been the mask thing, not having to wear the mask. That's ridiculous. But there is a guy we work with, and he wears makeup and does a great job with it. It's fantastic makeup, and and he's gay, and that's cool. It just, this lady, she complained because he wears too much makeup, and she thinks it was ridiculous that she had to explain to her kid that a guy wears makeup. And she called and literally complained, and it's like, he doesn't need to be working at your store. She's like, he's a guy, he doesn't need to be wearing makeup. So that's probably the most ridiculous, because I was offended and pissed that, she got so mad because one of our guys, he chooses to wear makeup, and that's his lifestyle. Who cares?
Right.
He does a fantastic job with it. It's not like it's this gaudy, like, hairband makeup and stuff. Like, the guy does up his face really well. I mean, to each his own, and it's just, and he's a super hard worker, super nice guy, and that's probably the most ridiculous call I've ever taken, actually.
And, if she doesn't like it, she doesn't have to shop there. It doesn't mean that he doesn't need to work there.
And that was the thing. She told me, I'm going to cancel my membership. I'm like, okay, we'll take care of you, whatever you need.
Well, it's funny you say that. So a Northampton Tesco customer, Tesco's sort of like the British Costco almost.
British Costco. Right there, sorry.
Is so angry with the supermarket rearranging its shelves during the coronavirus lockdown that they have vowed never to shop there again. The shopper found several items not in their usual places 3 weeks running during the weekly visit to the Weston Favell supermarket. They were left unsatisfied with the response from staff when she complained about having to backtrack and walk around unnecessarily looking for products. Tesco said the rearrangements relate to an essential refurbishment, which was originally planned to start in March 2020, but is due to be completed by the end of the month. The customer, who wished to remain anonymous, said, "This practice of reorganizing shelves is highly annoying in peacetime, but is really sensible and safe. But is it really sensible and safe to do during a highly contagious killer pandemic? We, along with the majority of other people, are adhering to the rules. We don't want to catch this awful virus, or worse still, be in any way responsible for the suffering or death of others. I've tried to get satisfactory response from Tesco, but to no avail. I will never shop there again." The customer said they were relieved they visited at 6 a.m. to avoid other shoppers, but had they gone later in the day, the store would have been much busier. Really? Much later in the day than 6 o'clock? Much busier? That's crazy. Making walking around, well, more stressful. I felt very strongly that the midst of this awful pandemic is not the time to reorganize the shelves. The staff didn't know where items had been moved either and expressed frustration and an agreement with me that this was adding to the stress and time customers needed to be in the store, hardly making the vital shop easy or safe. This sounds like a Karen that just needed something to complain about. God forbid shelves are moved or rearranged or done up in a way that makes it easier for folks. But if it's not just the way she's used to, move out of the way.
And that's how we are. We're always forever changing things. Things are always moving in spots. Like we have Ziplocs on the fence. There's a Ziploc Focus. People walk right by it. I mean, they literally walk in the door, walk right by it, go all the way to the back, and they're like, "Where's your Ziploc?" Well, you passed it about 10 minutes to go back that way. But yeah, that's the thing. People threaten all the time, "I'll never come back." Most of the time I see the same people that say they'll never come back. I see them like a week later.
Exactly. So. And it's an empty threat that gets you nowhere. So, folks.
And I found too, anytime if you're out there in retail and you're dealing with that, just kill them with kindness. Just makes them more mad if you're nice and you smile. Well, it's not like they can see your smile anymore. But, that's always been my power is just smile and say, "Oh, okay, I'll take care of it." And you just be super nice because they're just looking to, A, just bitch about something, and 2, they want to see if they can rile you up because then it makes it worse. It's like they got nothing better to do.
Exactly. It's not like they're getting something for free. And obviously, if you're on the customer side of things, be nice, be kind. You're going to get a lot further being kind to an employee than you are going to be complaining or even rude to an employee. So
there you go.
The way it goes.
It's the truth.
Well, folks, it is Wednesday. We have a wonderful show lined up for you today. Let's talk about today's show, shall we?
Hump Day! Yeah!
It is Wednesday. It is Hump Day. And as we do on Wednesdays, we have Words Are Hard. We have a segment called Black History Facts because, well, it's Black History Month. Our call-in topic today is unnecessary movie sequels, basically bad sequels to good movies. We have more Blockbuster secrets. We loved that last time we did it. We round out the day with This Day in History, and Tony is up next with the entertainment news. Folks, do not go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
Was the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Wednesday, February 3rd. Now, we have a little thing called the Fenix Line. It is our 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week voicemail line, giving you guys, listeners and watchers, an opportunity to chime in on anything whatsoever. Maybe you complained about reorganizing shelves at your favorite supermarket. We want to know about it. Give us a call.
How dare you?
At 855-Fenix Radio. That's 855-FENIX-RDO or 855-336-4973. All we ask is that you keep it entertaining. We'll compile those together, put them out in a future show. Now, it is the second segment of this show, and that means Tony is here with the entertainment news.
Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, February 3rd, and here is your Filippo Fast 5. The beautiful people. Marilyn Manson loses TV roles in American Gods and Creepshow after abuse allegations. Zachary Levi to star in Sony's live-action Harold and the Purple Crayon. Remember that old book?
Nope.
No, you don't remember Harold, who had the crayon and he just drew his world? He was just a little kid? No? All right, well, Zachary Levi is going to be in it. I know you know him.
Oh, yeah.
Amazon has announced that CEO and founder Jeff Bezos will resign from his position during third quarter 2021. He will transition to the executive chair of Amazon's board. Amazon Web Services CEO Andy Jassy will replace Bezos, who founded Amazon in 1994. It's crazy. It was founded all the way back then as a little book company thing, huh?
And now it's huge.
It's huge. I think he's the wealthiest person in the world.
He is, yep.
So, yeah. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler will return to host the Biocoastal Golden Globe Awards, which will air February 28th, which should have been the day of the Academy Awards. Those got pushed to April. But it will air, Tina Fey will be in New York, Amy Poehler will be in Hollywood, and that'll air 5 p.m. on NBC. And from what I gather, everything's pretty much all Netflix or straight on-demand movies, so should be interesting. And lastly, Mariah Carey sued for $1.25 million by her sister for emotional distress caused by her memoir. Oh, so sad there, Mrs. Carey.
Boo-hoo.
Boo-hoo. Okay. But what's not boo-hoo is yesterday I started off with a video game story. Well, let's do it again today.
All right.
EA Sports College Football is returning for the first time since 2013, and fans rejoice. So a small tease on EA's Twitter. It says college football is coming back. EA revealed it will be partnering with CLC, the nation's leading collegiate trademark licensing company, to become the exclusive developer of simulation college football game experiences. The EA Sports college football franchise garnered tens of millions of sales during its run from 2005 to 2014 and was a top 5 sports title in North America. EA Sports College Football will include the rights to more than 100 institutions featuring logos, stadiums, uniforms, game day traditions, and more that fans have come to know and love. EA does note that while the college game will not include student-athlete names, images, and likenesses, EA Sports is continuing to watch those developments closely. No further information was given on the reboot of the franchise, but EA encourages fans to follow EA Sports College on Twitter for more updates. This is huge because obviously college students want to get paid, and this was good for college institutions because they'd get paid while the students did not. So it's kind of a back door around it where the colleges will definitely be seeing it if they license their logos and things. But I don't know if it's. If they could strike a deal with the college students, that wouldn't be so bad because then at least they're getting a little something.
Exactly. You know, I think they did it right with the last Madden one where they included college teams into the game there. That's the way they should do it while they're still trying to figure out the likenesses and names and things for the NCAA players. Because you're right, they don't get paid for it. They can't use their names. They can't use their likenesses. So, figure out a way that you can pay them. Maybe put it in a account that they can't touch until 5 years down the road. The bigger the name, the more they get paid. But everybody gets paid a little bit if they're featured in the game. I think that's what's fair for everybody. And that way, if you want a true NCAA football game, you're getting the full experience with all of the names and likenesses of your favorite players as opposed to just generic players.
Yeah. The generic stuff's always crazy. It's like playing Tecmo Bowl with the when they lost the licenses and it was just generic names.
Right. And I think Bo Jackson was the only one that they could use because he was directly licensed with them.
Yeah, Ron Belway.
Right.
Quarterback of the Denver football team. Because that was the thing. They didn't have the rights to do like Broncos and all that. I think in the re-release that they did, I think it was all just Denver, San Fran. You just knew the team.
Right. The Denver Mustangs.
Yeah, Denver Mustangs. The Colorado Mustangs featuring Ron Belway. He's the quarterback. Legendary. But speaking of legendary, Marvel they dropped a trailer yesterday called Behind the Mask, and Spider-Man, the Hulk, Black Panther, Scarlet Witch, Captain America, Thor, Doctor Strange. Over the decades, the folks at Marvel Comics have created countless members of heroes who have caught the attention and sparked the imaginations of millions. And Marvel Entertainment has released a trailer for Marvel's Behind the Mask, a special documentary that will explore the power of the identity behind the world's most iconic heroes. Behind the Mask will debut on Disney Plus next week and will feature guests from across Marvel's 80-year legacy, including the writers and artists behind the rise of characters like Black Panther, Miles Morales, Ms. Marvel, Luke Cage, the X-Men, Captain Marvel, and many other characters in the Marvel Universe, highlighting Marvel's impact on pop culture and media. The official synopsis for Behind the Mask is, from the very inception of comic books, secret identities have been an integral part of both superheroes and villains leading normal lives. But it's in its characters beneath that resonate with us across generations of fans. Since the advent of the Marvel Age of Comics in the early 1960s, Marvel writers, artists have used the notion of identities to examine the evolving concept of equal rights. These legendary Marvel creations and stories have not only reflected the world outside our window, they have become a reflection of our own identities, who we truly are. It will launch on Disney Plus February 12th. Have you gotten a chance to watch the trailer?
No, I didn't even know about it until you mentioned it. So I'm going to check out the trailer. I love, these docuseries. They had one all about Stan Lee, but it sounds like this one's going to be more focused on some of the later characters, like you mentioned, Ms. Marvel, Luke Cage, Captain Marvel, ones that maybe Stan Lee wasn't directly involved with creating, but some of the outlying characters that we're starting to see in the MCU now.
Yeah, it's good. It did show X-Men, so, they're starting to unroll that kind of stuff out, which is nice.
Yes.
But yeah, I watched the trailer this morning. Looks entertaining. Definitely a documentary. If this was Pop Culture Kaboom, I'd give it a good. I would definitely watch it. So.
Very cool.
The Real Ghostbusters is coming back. The hit animated series that ran from 1986 until 1991. It will be coming to YouTube, beginning with a free premiere and teasing more for fans who subscribe to the Ghostbusters YouTube account. Set in the world of the original Ghostbusters, the Real Ghostbusters spawned toys, comic books, and other spin-offs, including a new generation of merch in the last few years. The show, which ran for 7 seasons, was called The Real Ghostbusters because it competed with another animated series called The Ghostbusters, based on a 1975 film for Filmation, the producers of which had struck a deal with Columbia Pictures to allow the 1984 movie to use the same name. The Real Ghostbusters is likely showing back up again because the upcoming release of Ghostbusters Afterlife, a film that ties directly back to the first 2 Ghostbuster movies and ignores the 2016 Answer the Call reboot. The movie has been delayed as a result of the pandemic, which was originally set for release last summer. It's currently scheduled to hit theaters. Well, it was originally going to hit June 11th. Now we know it's November 11th of this year. You can see the tweet announcing Real Ghostbusters below. Okay, I am now Ron Burgundy. But basically, this is pretty cool. I can't recall too many of the Real Ghostbusters. I remember the intro to it, and I remember Slimer was a big part of it. And the track like this, Peter. Well, it was his verse. It was Slimer's verse, though. That's all I really remember of it. I remember having the toys. Do you remember much about the cartoon?
Not much about the cartoon. I was actually surprised to learn it ran for 5 seasons, but
Me too.
The toy line was amazing. So many fun toys and things that would transform, and you'd have normal looking people that turned into like crazy looking monsters and ghosts, and of course all the proton packs and ghost traps. Fun toy line.
Yeah, and if you guys are interested in that, they have re-released the toy line, the same exact ones from when you and I were kids. You can go to Walmart or Target, and they are there on the shelf right now.
Interesting.
It was a little weird to see, seeing that Masters of the Universe on the shelf in its old form. It's definitely, it's weird because those are when we were little kids,
Exactly.
And now, we're really, really older kids, and it's just weird to see. But I digress. Right before we go into the birthdays, today's Super Bowl history, since it is Super Week. Today's fun fact: when the Green Bay Packers won their very first Super Bowl, each player received a bonus of $15,000. Kansas City players only received $7,500, which might not seem like a lot, but back then, sure, that was a pretty chunk of change for them.
Yeah, nice payday for them.
Yeah, and if you didn't know, the Packers won the very first Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Which, if you know sports and stuff, you already know. But that's it. Here is your birthdays for February 3rd.
It's my birthday!
Oh, this actress who started Confessions of a Shopaholic and Now You Can See Me. She also played Gloria Cleary in Wedding Crashers. You'll Never Find Me. And Isla Fisher is 44. She looks a lot younger than that.
Yeah.
He became known for playing the title characters in both the 1988 film Willow and in I'm the Leprechaun franchise. He also portrayed an Ewok, Wicket in Star Wars Return of the Jedi, Professor Phyllis Fitwick and Griphook in Harry Potter, and played Nickabrick in The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. Mr. Warwick Davis, he's 50. He's a young 50. Star of the hit musical, the producers of Guys and Dolls, as well as comedies like The Birdcage with Robin Williams. He voiced the character Timon in the 1994 Disney film The Lion King. Nathan Lane is 64, and that is your birthdays and your entertainment news for February 3rd.
And folks, that does do it for the entertainment news. When we come back, it is Wednesday, and we've got Words Are Hard. Words Are Hard. You won't want to miss it. Come back after these messages.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Hey!
So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Listen live at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. Indeed. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Wednesday, February 3rd. Now we are all over social media with many of you watching us as we speak on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. Now, if you want to get a hold of us, you can reach me at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. That's Kristian with a K, Phoenix with an F, radio, of course, with an R, or on Instagram and Twitter at Phoenix Media Radio. Tony's available at facebook.com/Tony.Sanfilippo. That's SANFILIPPO.94, or on Instagram at Tony.Sanfilippo81. Now, on Wednesdays, we like to explore the English language and some of the intricacies of it, and really kind of what makes it weird, which is why we've titled this segment, Words Are Hard. Now, when you're translating something from another language into English, sometimes something gets lost in there or doesn't quite fit, and it gets even worse if you put it on any official print, whether it's a sign or marketing or whatever it may be. But it makes for great fun when you're going through a segment like this. Words are hard. For instance, Tony, there's a sign that says, Naya is a no wang zone. Please fall in line to avoid embarrassment. So just keep in mind.
Yeah. You better watch out, the wang because
Yeah, baby.
you just never know when the wang is gonna get out there and play.
And this is a sign from the Republic of the Philippines, so it's your people who are mandating a no wang zone.
That is awesome. No wang zone for you.
Let's move on with Words Are Hard. Signs that are a little lost in translation. For instance, you go to the airport and they've got those bomb-sniffing dogs, and they're wearing a little vest around, and usually it says, ATF dog or a firearms dog or whatever. Well, in this case, it's an explosive dog. I think there's a little something lost in translation, unless
I do too.
He eats whole chocolate bars, and you got to deal with the explosion afterwards.
Yeah, you got to watch out for definitely the that dog. You better watch out.
Let's move on with Words Are Hard. Things that were printed and somewhat lost in translation. Now, Tony, do you have any tattoos with Chinese characters on them?
I do not, no.
Probably a good thing. There's always that running joke that, you get a Chinese character, you think it means one thing, it could mean something else. Well, this guy got a tattoo in Russian, tried translating his last name into Russian, but when you look it up on a Google Translate, it says, well, no translation. So didn't quite get it right because even Google Translate had no idea what it was trying to say.
Macho Man Randy Savage is not happy with your decision, yeah.
Moving on with Words Are Hard, signs that are lost in translation. Here is I assume a Chinese soup or some sort of food item. Of course, it has all the Chinese characters, and of course, the English translation right below it says explodes in the large intestine. I don't know if I'd want to be eating that.
Yeah, no, I would probably be skipping that. Don't want anything that's going to cause the burn in the stomach,
you just
don't want that.
I was going to say they should have had that sign on the taquitos you had from 7-Eleven.
Oh, yeah. Oh, those free taquitos. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely big time warning there.
Explodes in the large intestine for sure. Moving on with Words Are Hard. Here's a sign again. Russian is a difficult language, especially when it comes to translations. It looks like this is on a menu. Of course, it has the Russian print, and then right below it says sausage in the father-in-law. Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah.
If I was a father-in-law, I don't want to be visiting that restaurant.
No, definitely not. Oh, you want the sausage in there? That's a very happy feel.
This sign, this looks to be Korean. Of course, it has the characters right below it. Probably just good advice for anything at any point. During the day, it says, don't forget to carry your thing. Just don't forget.
Yeah.
Carry your thing.
Your thing.
Your thing. Doesn't matter what your thing is, just don't forget to carry it.
Just the thing.
All right, moving on with Words Are Hard, signs that are lost in translation. This one obviously wasn't translated from anything, just somebody found the wrong word, and it's a very wrong word. Something you might see at Costco, for instance. It says shoplifters will be prostituted. No, not prosecuted, prostituted. So that's a bigger threat than prosecuted, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, that one is definitely, yeah, that's getting a little funky and dirty there, baby.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of funky in this case, there's a sign over a doorway. Of course, you've got the what looks like Chinese or Japanese characters, the international handicap sign, which is, the blue sign with the stick figure in the wheelchair. But of course, it has the translation below it, deformed man passage.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's deformed, all right. He's very missing.
How dare you call somebody handicapped deformed man? What if they're a woman?
How dare you?
Let's move on with Words Are Hard. This one looks either Taiwanese or somewhere in that Malaysian area. The translation actually makes sense, but I don't think it's what they intended. It says, drive carefully. Now think about this. 90% of all people are caused by accidents. I think they mixed up accidents and people, but they're not necessarily wrong.
I was gonna say they're kind of right. You know, people again, they just, you know, they do that thing, and sometimes people happen.
90% seems a little high, but again, 90% of all people are caused by accidents. Not necessarily wrong. Let's keep moving on with Words Are Hard. I don't know if I'd want to shop here. Again, it is a, in this case, it looks like Korean supermarket with the English translation, very suspicious supermarket. All right, well, walking around in trench coats.
You know, the scary one off the beaten path.
It's very suspicious. Or it sells very suspicious food. And again, maybe that should have been the sign above 7-Eleven when you had those taquitos.
No. Those forever haunting taquitos.
All right, let's keep moving on with Words Are Hard. You know, again, signs lost in translation. This person, it doesn't look like it was translated from another language, but I would want to avoid this park. It says, people are eating children in this area. Please leash up your dog and clean up after them. Thank you. People are eating children in that area. I'm not taking my dog, that's for sure.
No, yeah, that's that's freaky.
All right, more on Words Are Hard. You know, they have those yellow little sandwich board signs for when, you know, somebody's mopping or cleaning. Obviously, they want to warn everybody.
Like caution, wet floor, something along those lines, yeah.
Yep. This one, the translation, execution in progress. I don't know if I'd be walking through there. I would imagine they're cleaning up lots and lots of blood at the same time. Yeah.
Ooh, that was definitely a mess up. No!
Oh, and finally, in Words Are Hard, signs that are lost in translation. You have a sign for like a boba restaurant, cute little picture of a boba drink. Top picture says, I'm bubble tea. Then the middle one has a couple of the boba balls in there. And then the third one, it's filled with the boba balls. And a little dialogue bubble that pops up off the top of that simply says, suck my balls. And folks, that does it for Words Are Hard. You know, it is Wednesday, but when we come back, we've got Black History Facts. Don't go anywhere. Those are some major superheroes while we celebrate Black History Month. So folks, we will see you in just a few.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool, and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix radio show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks, to the final segment of the first hour of the Kristian Fenix radio show on this Wednesday, February 3rd. But don't fret, there's still plenty ahead with our second hour, including our call-in topic of unnecessary movie sequels. Now, if you missed a portion of the show or you want to go back and catch up on any of the previous shows, it's easy enough to do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us, click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix radio show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts, whether it's Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor Breaker, TuneIn, iHeart, about 20 in all. While you're there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always have the latest episode. Leave a review, let us know what you think, and tell your friends, because sharing is caring. Now, speaking of both sharing and caring, you know, February is Black History Month. This is where we celebrate Black pioneers and what they've given to not only this country, but the world as well. And so wanted to take the opportunity to run through some Black history facts that you may or may not know about and honor these, well, Black superheroes. For instance, in 1951, Henrietta Lacks' cancer cells led to major discoveries in medical research. There was a novel and later a movie starring Oprah Winfrey as Henrietta's daughter called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, which explained how Henrietta's HeLa cells, H-E-L-A cells, have contributed to medical research. The tragedy is that her family didn't know about any of it until 1975. Scientists were making all these discoveries and making a profit from her cells while her own children were living in poverty. Luckily, it was discovered, and hopefully the family was taken care of after that fact. But again, you know, one person that can contribute so much to medical research is so awesome.
That is awesome. Especially when you think about the time frame of when they started working on that. You know, we've made great advancements. Still don't have all the answers for all that, but great start.
Exactly. You know,
hopefully
hopefully
back in the late 60s.
Exactly. Hopefully in our lifetime we'll see a cure to cancer, but in the meantime,
love that.
You know, we're moving forward. Speaking of moving forward, with Black history facts, Dorothy Dandridge was the first African American to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actress. The singer and actress was acknowledged for her performance in the 1954 film Carmen Jones. I didn't know about that. I thought the woman who played the maid in Gone with the Wind was actually the first African American to be nominated for an Academy Award, but I think that might have been Best Supporting Actress. This is for Best Actress, so makes sense.
Gotcha.
And it's great to see, 1954 that a pioneer like Dorothy Dandridge, was making a name in film. Moving on with Black History Facts. Speaking of scientific discovery, the first successful open heart surgery was performed in 1893 by a black surgeon named Dr. Daniel Hale Williams. He also founded the first hospital that employed black healthcare workers. I don't know about you, I wouldn't want to get open heart surgery in 1893, but
No.
the fact that he pioneered it is just amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. Like, you look back at that time, like people knew how to do that. They're like, okay, well, we're gonna cut you open, we're gonna play with it, fix it, and we're gonna patch you up, and you'll be good.
Well, and anesthetic wasn't quite then what it is now. I mean, you hear about, obviously, mid to late 1800s during the Civil War, people had to have, field operations, limbs cut off, and what the agony that they went through in having basically no anesthetic. They just had to bite down on a stick and hopefully they didn't pass out.
Yeah, you see the cringy stuff on Walking Dead and stuff. They're like, like, I know they're acting, but you can really think about that, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who talk about this is the worst time in history. Look back a few hundred years. I would not want to live during those times. I'd much rather live now. But let's move on with Black History Facts. John Rock was the first African-American Supreme Court lawyer. He did so February 1st, 1865. Before this day, John Rock was a doctor, but was so ill that he had to give up practicing medicine and become a lawyer instead. What's mind-blowing is we hear about Dred Scott versus Sanford, where black people were not considered American citizens, but you didn't need to be a citizen to practice law in the Supreme Court. It's sad this is not learned in school today, but good on John Rock for being the first African-American Supreme Court lawyer.
That's awesome. Especially when he wanted to be a doctor but got so sick that he just couldn't do it, so he had to find a new career path and ended up being probably more successful there than maybe he would have been as a doctor. I mean, who knows if he would have been, but at least he had a good fallback career.
And it goes to show that, if something doesn't work out, you can pivot, do something else. Luckily he didn't go into something lesser than a doctor. He became a lawyer.
Yoo-hoo!
All right, moving on with Black History Facts. Thelonious Monk was one of the greatest jazz composers.
Thelonious, that's a name, man.
Yeah, it is. And a strong leader in the jazz revolution. Apparently one of his big projects was big band and quartet in concert. Apparently you can find it online, but it's amazing what jazz has brought to modern music. Even rock music, the first rock, Elvis, the Beatles, was derived from blues, which was derived from jazz. And it's just interesting to watch the history of music and how much influence somebody like Thelonious Monk had on even the hard rock that we listen to today.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah. Let's keep moving on. Black History Facts in honor of Black History Month. I didn't know this. Betty Boop was based on a black woman. Betty Boop was inspired by the black jazz singer Esther Jones, commonly known as Baby Esther in Harlem's Cotton Club. Her signature singing style was stolen by Helen Kane and adapted by the cartoonist Max Fleischer. And even if you look at Betty Boop as a cartoon, she looks more like an African-American than what you would expect a turn-of-the-century jazz singer to look like. And of course, she has that boop-boop-be-doop. I can't do it, but
yeah.
That's if Elmo was Betty Boop.
Oh, everybody, it's Betty Boop.
Let's keep rolling on with Black History Facts. Musa the First of Mali is considered the richest man in history. Somebody wrote, students should learn more about the king of the Mali Empire. It's been said that there's really no way to put an accurate number on his wealth, but I'm sure Jeff Bezos only wishes he had that kind of dough. Nice little callback to what you were talking about, Jeff Bezos stepping down from Amazon. He truly is the current wealthiest person in the world.
Yeah, there's No one's got more money than that guy right now.
Exactly. All right, let's keep talking about Black history facts with the superheroes of Black History Month. Katherine Johnson, Mary Jackson, and Dorothy Vaughan were the women behind the NASA space race. Bethrick85 says, I had no clue about all the black women behind the space race in the 1960s until I saw the movie Hidden Figures. Katherine Johnson, Mary Jackson, Dorothy Vaughan, and all the ladies who worked as the computers served as the brains behind launching John Glenn, the first successful American astronaut to orbit Earth. I would love to learn about them in school. And again, a lot of these aren't brought to light in school teachings, things along those lines. You have to find out from major Hollywood movies that are made years after the fact. But very inspiring and very cool. I haven't seen the whole movie. I've seen bits and pieces, but a great story nonetheless.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, let's keep moving on with Black History Facts. Bayard Rustin was an openly gay civil rights activist. Bayard Rustin was a social rights activist who helped install various organizations like the Southern Christian Leadership Conference with Martin Luther King Jr. and the 1947 Freedom Ride. He was the head of the 1963 March on Washington and helped fight for civil, social, and gay rights. And I'm surprised there hasn't been a movie made about him yet. It's one of those stories that, you think somebody would pick up in Hollywood and really run with.
Yeah, it's... Oh, don't know. I got nothing for it.
I thought you were going somewhere with that.
I lost my train of thought. No, I was, and then my brain just went, or just stopped. So I'm like, oh, never mind.
All right, fair enough.
Oh, no, you were saying like they should have made a movie by now. Yeah, it's definitely... You find all kinds of biopics. It'd probably be a good one to explore.
Yeah, exactly. Especially right now. Tons of biopics coming out. Let's keep moving on with Black History Facts. Henry Box Brown escaped to freedom at the age of 33. He shipped himself from Virginia to Philadelphia so that he could be free. Basically, he was so determined that he shipped himself sort of in the mail out of the South, where black folks and slaves were not free, made it to the North and became a free man. So again, very inspiring. That one maybe not due for a movie, but a short story, a TV series, TV episode, whatever it may be. But in any case, folks, that does it for our look at Black History Facts, honoring Black History Month. We are headed into our long break. When we come back, we have the interactive portion of the show. Unnecessary movie sequels is the topic. Enjoy the news, take a potty break, get some tea. We will be back in, about 7 minutes. See you guys then. You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit tunein2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. To explore our complete lineup, head over to phoenixmedia.us or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio.
Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Simon Marks. Police in Myanmar have filed an array of charges against Aung San Suu Kyi, the leader of the National League for Democracy, which won the country's November elections. The military seized power on Sunday, claiming the poll was rigged. Several other NLD leaders are also in detention and facing charges. Reporter Leong Wai Kit with Singapore-based news channel CNA is in Yangon.
NLD leader Aung San Suu Kyi has been charged under the import-export law, and she's now being remanded until February 15. On February 1st, the Myanmar army went to Ms. Suu Kyi's house. Now, during the raid, the Myanmar army found a handful of walkie-talkies that are used by her security teams. Those walkie-talkies were handed over to the police. Now, the police later found that those walkie-talkies were illegally imported and used without permission.
He says Myanmar's president is facing charges of breaching the country's COVID-19 regulations by campaigning in the election. The Biden administration is considering the imposition of fresh sanctions against the Myanmar military. The United Nations Human Rights Office says it's dismayed by the jailing of Russian opposition politician Alexei Navalny. It's also calling for the release of protesters arrested during recent mass demonstrations. From FSN's bureau at UN headquarters in New York, Sarah Walton reports.
A UN spokesperson on human rights said Navalny was jailed for violating the terms of a suspended sentence in a case which had been described as arbitrary, unfair and manifestly unreasonable by the European Court of Human Rights in 2017. The opposition figure was sentenced to 3.5 years in jail at a court in Moscow on Tuesday. An estimated 1,400 demonstrators are still being held by police. The UN Human Rights Office has called for their immediate release.
The UK and European Union are holding talks to resolve trade issues between Britain and Northern Ireland. Checks on goods were suspended on Tuesday after threats were made to staff. From FSN's bureau in Brussels, Lucy Hoff reports.
The arrangement in place at the Northern Ireland border is new and delicate, and the combined impact of Brexit and the effects of the pandemic have led to rising tensions. There have been threats to staff working at Northern Irish ports, as well as some hauliers reporting difficulties transporting goods from Britain into Northern Ireland under new rules agreed in the EU-UK trade deal.
On Capitol Hill this morning, a memorial service for slain police officer Brian Sicknick. He died at the hands of insurrectionists incited by then-President Donald Trump to invade the U.S. Capitol building last month. President Joe Biden and his wife Jill paid their respects to Officer Sicknick on Capitol Hill on Tuesday night. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets, and they all have one thing in common. Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard, that's optional. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit tunein2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No. Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Here goes the last DJ.
Gentlemen, I wash my hands of this weirdness.
Welcome back, folks, to the second hour of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Wednesday, February 3rd. We are your daily dose of laughs and levity in a crazy, crazy world. Still joined by my co-host, Tony Sanfilippo. Tony, were you able to get some tea or Zip Fizz during the break?
Yep, got my tea, got Zip Fizz. Haven't drank it yet, but got it right here. So, ready to go for hour 2, man.
Oh, the fastest hour of the day. It truly is. Well, folks, this is the interactive portion of the show where we want to hear from you guys, the listeners and watchers, on the topic of the day, which is why we give you the topic 24 hours in advance, so you can always call in on the Fenix Line at 855-FENIX-RADIO. That's 855-FENIX-RDO. Or you can always comment on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. Just click into the live video portion and comment there. Today's topic is unnecessary movie sequels. Basically, bad sequels to a good movie. You love the original, they made a sequel, either they changed the stars, they changed the director, they changed the writer, and it just was bad. Or it could have been all of the same people, and it just didn't turn out as well as it needed to be. That's what we want to hear from you on. Now, Tony, I have a feeling I know what your pick is, but why don't you go ahead and tell us what is an unnecessarily bad movie sequel?
Well, you know, I had so many, but then I had so many people chime in that they said the same thing. So I'm going to actually let them have those ones.
Okay.
And I will save it because I think you know where I was going to go, but I'll let them have that. And so I started thinking during the break, what other movies were really bad? And you know which one came to mind? It's not, I've only watched it one time, but it was so terrible, which was Dumb and Dumberer, which was the first well, it was the prequel.
It was a prequel, exactly.
Yeah, and I don't know if that counts as a sequel, but it was just god awful because you had two people trying to be Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, and it just didn't work. It was them in school. And the guy that played, I don't know his name. I know he's in...
Eric Christian Olsen?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm glad you knew. I figured you would know. He did a good job. Like, he looked like Jim Carrey, like a young Jim Carrey, but, oh, man, it was...
No bueno. And to be fair, I mean, Dumb and Dumber 2, which was the true sequel starring Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey, wasn't great. I mean, it had some funny moments, but definitely didn't live up to the first one.
I was going to use that one. That was something someone chimed in. So I didn't use that one because of that. That was another one. That was like a backup to my other, and then my backup to that one somebody else said. So, you know, and I agree with it because so I had to really start thinking like, there's a lot of bad ones, and I have no doubt in my mind we'll cover some lists that'll have a bunch, which we can butcher apart at the same time.
I have a massive list to help fill time, but
I bet you have a massive list.
My pick is something more recent, something we've talked about sort of ad nauseum, something we were really looking forward to. I'm talking Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Ooh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, great movie. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, almost as good as Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And then 20 years pass, and they do Bill and Ted Face the Music, which brings back Alex Winter, brings back Keanu Reeves, brings back the writer Ed Solomon. You would expect it to be just a fantastic film along the lines of the first two, and it was just god-awful. It was not good. I suffered through the entire movie, and even Jesse throughout the whole time was saying, should we turn it off? Should we just turn it off? And I was, no, it's got to get better. It has to get better. Guess what? It didn't get better.
No, that was a good one. I actually thought you were going to say Wonder Woman 84. That's why I didn't say that one either. We didn't discuss. Wonder Woman 84 was a terrible sequel as well.
Yeah, and again, that was one where they brought back the stars, they brought back the director. For all intents and purposes, it should have been a fantastic film along the lines of the first one, and it really missed the mark. I mean, in so many ways. Pedro Pascal was just over the top. Kristen Wiig, who played Cheetah, you saw her as Cheetah for maybe 5 minutes total. And it didn't need to take place in the 80s, other than the fact there was the scene in the mall during the 80s, and that was really the only callback to the 80s. Otherwise, it was cheesy. It was,
It was a bad sequel.
All in all, just not great. Not great at all. So that's what we're talking about, folks. We are talking about unnecessary movie sequels, bad sequels to great movies. Go ahead and chime in now on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. Just click into the live video, comment there. And when we come back, it is all about you guys and your picks for the worst movie sequels. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m. and I told you the exact path it would take. You would of course prepare. You would talk with your loved ones and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at fenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at fenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back, folks. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Wednesday, February 3rd. We are smack dab in the middle of the interactive portion of the show where we want to hear from you guys, the listeners and watchers, about our topic of the day. Simply head over to facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. Click on the live video there and comment in. Today's topic is unnecessary movie sequels, basically bad sequels to great movies. We gave a couple picks during the last segment. Tony mentioned Dumb and Dumber. My pick was Bill and Ted Face the Music, and of course we talked about Wonder Woman 1984. Now, Tony, I know you've had a number of people chime in on this subject. If you wouldn't mind sharing what their picks are for unnecessary movie sequels.
Yeah, this the first one we got is from, of course, super fans Mike and Lacey. Lacey's is Anchorman 2, which was going to be the one I said. This was the whole start of comedies. Certain comedies just don't need sequels. Like, one is, it tells the story, it was what it was, just leave it alone. When you go back to try to, milk the cow again and see if you get the same success, this was a good case in point of why not to do sequels. It didn't it had the same cast, same director, same writers, so it seemed like a slam dunk, but it fell flat. Ooh,
yeah, it was not great, and I think what they did was, they figured out that in the first movie that some of the improvised scenes were some of the funnier ones. So I think what they did with Anchorman 2 is let him essentially just improvise the entire movie. They even came out with 2 different cuts of the movie that had totally different jokes in it, and I just don't think it worked out well.
No, bad movie.
Yep.
Bad one. Woof. Mike chimed in and said Dumb and Dumber, the second, was
Dumb
really
and Dumber
bad.
2, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the actual sequel, where they brought back Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, and the problem with that is 2 things. You've got the original cast, you have the original directors and writers, so again, looks good on paper, but this is one of those, like, Bill and Ted Face the Music. You waited way too long to do that. Like, if you were going to do a Dumb and Dumber sequel, you should have done it back in the 90s, and you probably would have gotten better results. But even that would have been pushing it. It's one of those movies that just doesn't call for a sequel. Like, you don't need to know where Harry and Lloyd are at this point. Like, they're just 2 idiots that have it. It's just going to be the same thing all the time.
And I think part of the problem is that, that style of humor was great during the 90s, but humor in movies has evolved since then, and it just doesn't work well in a more modern setting. Same with Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Yeah, they couldn't. There's certain words that they would say back then that was socially acceptable versus now it's not.
Exactly.
Ryan Regan chimes in on our Facebook page. Independence Day 2 Resurgence. That was going to be one. That was like my third pick. So it's kind of nice because I agree 100% on these picks. But I was super excited for Independence Day, but I had a feeling it was doomed when I knew Will Smith was not coming back. And then what was worse is they mentioned him and they killed him off really fast.
Right.
So it's like he was this big hero, but then he just died.
Yeah, they just sort of wash over it, and then from there it was just a CG effects failure, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, so lazy they went back to the Salt Flats and Salt Lake to have the final showdown again. It's just like, okay.
Pretty terrible.
But it was a bad movie. I really wanted to like it, but it was bad. Even bringing back a couple originals didn't help.
No.
And then I had Bill Tiemann. He chimed in Caddyshack 2.
Yep.
Just terrible, low budget.
No
sequel.
Bill Murray.
No. That was the thing. What, Chevy Chase was the only one that came back from the original?
Yeah. Not a great sequel, but Caddyshack 1, fantastic. It is a classic.
Oh, fantastic. Well, and that was R-rated, right? And part 2 was PG. Yeah. Yep. That'll doom you, too, if you come back and you're a PG movie when you originally are. Yeah, it's going to hurt.
On our Facebook page, we had a couple other people chime in. Ryan Williams said Joe Dirt 2. I agree that it's a terrible sequel, but at the same time, was Joe Dirt 1 all that great?
I like Joe Dirt. It was worth a watch. There's some quotable stuff in there.
I don't remember it too well, so but it may be a classic to some people, and obviously the sequel doesn't quite pan out. We also had D. McDuffie say Little Fockers. Although star-studded, just wasn't funny. I forgot that movie even existed. Obviously, there was Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, which was not as good as Meet the Parents, and then Little Fockers, which was just terrible.
Ooh.
Just downright
It was bad.
bad.
Yeah, when you start getting into like the third movies and stuff, I know we could go on and on because I keep thinking of one. You know, another one I thought about, Zoolander 2.
Yes.
Why? They waited way too long on that, and when it came out, it was awful. And the first Zoolander is fantastic. I mean, for comedy, it's a stupid movie, but
right.
It's hilarious. It'd be like today coming out with let's come out with Idiocracy 2, or Office Space 2. You don't need it.
Yeah, don't touch those.
One was enough.
The other thing about that is, not only are they just not funny, but if there is a sequel that exists that you plain and simply forget about, chances are it wasn't that great. I totally forgot Zoolander 2 was even a thing until you mentioned it.
Oh, it's bad. Super Troopers 2. There's another one. You took a classic movie, made a sequel, and it sucked.
Pretty bad. And of course, to help fill in time, I've got a huge list.
The list. That's what I was waiting for, so we could butcher some other movies we may have forgotten about.
And this one is actually compiled by Rotten Tomatoes, so it even has the tomometer, whatever it is, the scoring for it. For instance, Teen Wolf 2.
Nope.
Has 7%.
Yeah, that's the Jason Bateman one.
Exactly. Michael J. Fox, first Teen Wolf, is a classic. Then they brought in Jason Bateman, which just didn't land. It was pretty terrible. The next one here on the list is, again, trying to reboot a franchise, a classic franchise. The first 3 movies were fantastic. The next Karate Kid.
Oh, hell no!
Nah, it was the Hilary Swank one. Sure, they brought back Pat Morita, but once you lose Daniel-san, no good.
No, and the first ones were so good. Classic, and again, just not necessary. The only thing I would say was worse than this was the reboot with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. That was pretty terrible.
Yeah, we'll have to do a segment down the line, worst reboots. I mean, yeah. I know which one we're gonna go with for the top worst reboot, but
kids these days. Moving on with terrible, unnecessary sequels. What about Van Wilder: The Rise of Taj? Van Wilder was
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was Cal Penn as the star. There was no Ryan Reynolds, no Tara Reid. Oof.
No, and Van Wilder.
I never watched it, but it just looked bad.
Van Wilder is what made Ryan Reynolds' career to start with before he killed it during Green Lantern. But you get that wit of Ryan Reynolds, that comedy. Not a need for a second one. Just not great.
Oof.
Folks, we still have about 3.5 minutes left, so you are more than welcome to chime in on our Facebook page.
Chime in.
At facebook.com/Kristian Fenix Radio. We are talking about unnecessary movie sequels. For instance, a lot of horror sequels are pretty bad as well, including I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Nope.
Yeah. I still am going to follow. You know what's funny is I forgot what they even did. Oh, yeah, never mind. They did a hit and run on a fisherman.
Exactly. But you had Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr. It played out well once. Obviously, it was in sort of the wake of Scream, but going with a second one, just not good.
No, terrible.
Just leave it alone.
Terrible sequel, yeah. I do remember seeing it. No good.
Talking about unnecessary movie sequels, we were talking Jim Carrey a little bit earlier in Dumb and Dumber and Dumb and Dumber 2. What about Son of the Mask?
Oh hell
Jamie.
no!
Ooh. Jamie Kennedy was the star of that one. Ugh.
It was one of those movies that would have been better off straight to home video, straight to DVD, but they actually released it in theaters, and it was just so bad.
Yeah, the first Mask was fantastic. Like, Jamie Kennedy tried to be like Jim Carrey, and that's the problem. He tried to be... I get it, he's supposed to be the son. Or no, he wasn't even the son. It was the little kid that got the mask on, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. It was just like he was some schlub that found the mask that came across it. Ugh, garbage movie. I forgot all about it.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, you forget about them, and that usually means that they're pretty terrible. Let's keep moving on with unnecessary movie sequels. What about Basic Instinct 2?
Nope.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you need it. It's just more Sharon Stone. Like the first Basic Instinct, the only thing I remember about it was the infamous leg crotch scene. That's all I remember.
Well, not only that, but Basic Instinct 2 was made in 2006. First one was, 1987, 1988. Again, they waited a little too long for essentially, the same story.
Yeah, no thanks.
This next one, Tony, I know is one of your favorite movie. At least the original was one of your favorite movies. Curious to see what you think about the sequel, Major League 2.
Oh, hell no!
I loved Major League 2. I disagree with that. I thought the sequel was fantastic.
I enjoyed the sequel as well. It wasn't as good as the first one.
If you go with the third one, Back to the Minors, that one was crap.
And
that was that one. They took the B-list stars of the second one, and they got to be the headline. I think Pedro Serrano, like you expect me to, Dennis Haysbert, who had been the major star, of the Indians for 1 and 2, and then you demote him down to the minor leagues, and it had Scott Bakula as the coach. It was terrible. That one was bad. But part 2 was fantastic. They even survived, like they had to recast Willie Mays Hayes. It wasn't Wesley Snipes. It was Omar Epps in the second.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I love that movie. I don't agree with that one.
Now, here's a sequel to a movie that you loved that was terrible to begin with. Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2. Right, Tone?
Nope.
Barf. I will never, ever watch the sequel. I couldn't even finish the first. Hate Paul Blart. Hate him.
Oh, and then finally talking about unnecessary movie sequels, probably one of the worst of all time. In fact, it has a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Follow-up to an epic movie, Jaws: The Revenge.
Oh, hell no!
I like Jaws: The Revenge as a kid, but when you think of terms of sequels, it's really bad, especially at the end with the showdown where the shark is chasing them and it's making these loud monster noises. It's like... Every time it came out of the water, it was growling, and I'm like, what the hell?
So weird.
Like,
so
had
terrible.
Mario Van Peebles in it.
Yep. Well, folks...
Hello, Jake Man. What are you doing?
That does it for unnecessary movie sequels. When we come back, we've got our segment, More Blockbuster Secrets. Speaking of movies, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's gonna teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting's hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure.
Hey!
So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm gonna do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Listen live at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. And we are back. This is the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. It is Wednesday, February 3rd. We talk about it a couple times each show. It is the Fenix Line, our 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week voicemail line, giving you guys the opportunity to chime in on anything whatsoever, including our call-in topics of the day. Tomorrow's topic is hidden features of everyday things. What have you discovered about some everyday thing that does something that you didn't know it does? It's sort of a real-life transformer of sorts. We want to hear about it from you guys at 855-PHOENIX-RADIO. That's 855-FENIX-RDIO or 855-336-4973 for the alpha numerically impaired. All we ask is that you keep it entertaining. We will compile those together, put them out in a future show. Now, in this segment, we wanted to revisit a topic we talked about a month and a half ago, Blockbuster secrets. We're talking Blockbuster Video. Tony and I both worked for Hollywood Video, which was a Blockbuster rival back when we were in high school. And so, a lot of these things that these people are talking about really sort of hit home with us and obviously give us a little bit of nostalgia into the good old Blockbuster days. So figured we'd revisit
You've
that.
Got mail.
Run down some of the other things that are quote unquote secrets that former Blockbuster employees are, handing out. So let's start off with the first one. This from Kinky Wench 41 says we would hide the new movies so our friends would be able to find them, and the amount of VHS tapes that we would take home to watch without checking them out was amazing. I think I probably still have about 20 of them. Did you hide movies for friends, Tony?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Like, if people were like, hey, whatever the latest release was, I'd be like, yeah, I'll get it for you. And then, you know, there was sometimes, like, where the manager would be like, well, you can't hide them. So then you just go put it behind another movie. Or if you were a kid, like, before I ever worked in a movie store, you know, like, I would hide it, and then once I could go talk to my mom or, you know, if we could go rent it, then we could go back and at least it was hidden somewhere.
Exactly. I do the same thing. You know, if I'd go rent a movie, but I could only rent one or two, and there was a third one that I really wanted, I would take it and go hide it between a movie that I know nobody would check out.
Yeah, and I would even get sly. Like at Video Maniacs, the brand new releases were in blue cases, and then the older ones were in the white cases. So then what you do is just real quick swap the VHS, you know? But that also kind of sucked, though, because, like, you know, people did do that working there, and then you'd go to check it out, and it's not like you verify what they're renting. You're not like, Baby's Day Out, I hope you enjoy the movie, when they're thinking they're getting Titanic or something, right? Because somebody swapped the tape, and sometimes people are like, well, I didn't want to rent this, but the barcode links it to that movie, so, you know, sometimes they don't check. They think they just get it behind the box that it's in. So being on the other side of that was kind of annoying if you came across it. So.
It definitely was. Let's keep moving on with more Blockbuster secrets. This one from Jennifer Lee Diffendale says people would steal constantly. They would line large shopping bags with foil to try and get past the sensors. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't, but we were always told to let the people leave if they kept walking. It probably wasn't worth the company getting sued for our injuries if we got hurt. I don't recall many people stealing, at least not until we did the switch over from VHS to DVD. Then people tried walking out with the VHSs.
I didn't see too much of it at Video Maniacs, except for the one in Reno when I worked, when it came back after Hollywood had bought them out. They brought it back just small, and they did one in downtown Reno, and I took it as a side job because I loved Video Maniacs. And when we go unnecessary sequels, I don't think me going back to what I thought was great, going back to it wasn't as great the second time around. It didn't have the same feel. In fact, I got robbed by an old woman. She just kept asking, oh, what's this game? Oh, my grandson will like this game. She literally stacked 4 games and like 2 movies. And she's like, cool, this is the... I go, yep, I'll get you right at the counter. So I go behind the counter, man, and she just bolts out the door, and there's a car with no license plate waiting for her. Hit the gas, Jimmy! In the car. Gone.
Taken by a little old lady, Tony.
Yeah. I never even saw it coming.
Let's keep moving on with more Blockbuster secrets. Marianne Winslow says, we kept... not
Harriet Winslow. Can I do that?
We kept notes on every customer's account. You'd give us your card, and there was your rental history and things we'd type about your visit if necessary. So if you came in begging to have a late fee drop, we'd have notes on how many times we'd done that for you before, what excuse you used, and your demeanor. If you didn't do it too often, we were polite about it. We would usually help you out. But I remember there were little notes. And you'd even note, if it was high school days, if a girl was cute, you'd put a little something in there for your coworkers.
Yep. I used to wipe Anna and, you remember the twins that were like a grade lower, Anna and Ketty? I used to wipe their late fees all the time. We're still friends today. You can follow them on Instagram actually now.
Very cool.
Fit Twins of Insta. We still do that. But, I used to, if they ever become very popular and big, which they have a good following, I used to wipe their late fees for them.
Look at you, helping them out.
Claim
before
to
they
fame, baby.
All right, let's keep talking more Blockbuster secrets. Yes, we're talking Blockbuster Video. Another very original username, DonW42CB9BB8ED.
CB doobie doobie doo.
Sounds like a Star Wars droid.
Yeah, that beep boop beep boop.
In any case, Don says, I swear, every single week someone would rent the straight-to-DVD movie Gangsta's Paradise, and we gently asked them if they were actually looking for Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer. Nope, they were always adamant that they wanted Gangsta's Paradise. Every single time they would come back the same night and scream at us that we gave them the wrong film. No, that film you wanted was Dangerous Minds, and we told you that.
Yeah, we tried to warn you. I don't remember that, but that's the trickery of the B movies, you know. But I don't remember seeing that us carrying that one. I remember having Dangerous Minds, but not Gangster's Paradise. But in all fairness, that movie came out way before I was even really old enough to work in a video store. So
right. Well, and not only that, but there are these, as you mentioned, B-list, even Z-list studios that try to pass off movies as new releases, especially with animated movies. You would see like Frozen Princess.
Yeah.
Obviously, somebody looking for Frozen.
MI5.
Not so much the case. So, always check what you're renting. Of course, now we don't have to worry about it. So.
No, that's a thing of the past. But back then, yeah, people used to get ticked all the time. Or if the movie sucked, they always wanted a refund. It's like, we didn't make the movie.
Right. You rented it.
50-50 chance. It's either going to be good or it's going to be bad. Or I guess more like you got three options. It's either going to be really good, going to be okay, or going to be really bad.
Exactly. All right, let's keep talking more Blockbuster secrets. Tony, I know you experienced this at Video Maniacs. Cynthia Nada says, I used to work at a local neighborhood video store that did have a porn section, and I was always asked to clean the area. There was a lot of crusty stuff in there, and would also be asked by the regulars if we had their quote-unquote favorite selections.
Yeah. Working in, that was the only thing I hated about the video store was the adult room. A lot of sickos, man. A lot of weirdos would come in there. Not at the Video Maniacs I worked at, but the one down in South Carson, that they caught a guy, Rogering in the room, if you know what I mean.
Pee-wee Hermaning.
Yeah. And I remember we had a girl, she actually got fired because she confronted, a gross customer that returned a movie, and there was some greasy fingerprints on it, and there was some fun stuff still in there, and she said that he was effing disgusting, and that was the end of her job. But she wasn't wrong. Like, the thing was, like, I don't think sanitizing wipes or any of that stuff was a thing back then. It was...
No, it wasn't.
Movies were so germy. There was always goopy hands on those.
Yeah.
And even kid movies had, like their food. So there was always food stuff on the kid movies.
Exactly.
Quite an extreme difference from the kid to the adult genre.
And
came to that.
Finally, in more Blockbuster secrets. Oh, I wouldn't want to have been a Blockbuster employee during this point in time. This from user Indie Kitty says, when I worked at when I worked at Blockbuster in the late 2000s, we had to convince people to sign up for Blockbuster Online because compared to that new Netflix company, it had a larger movie catalog and was cheaper. Of course, it ended up being the downfall of Blockbuster.
Oh, dude, I remember them trying to sign me up at the one in Thornton.
Yeah.
Big old lady named Kat. It's a great deal. I doubt that, Cat.
Too little, too late for Blockbuster. Netflix reigns supreme at this point. But folks, that does it for more Blockbuster secrets. When we come back, we're headed into the final segment of the show, and it is time for This Day in History. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Allison is perfect. I mean, she'd never tell you that. She's humble and perfect. She likes everyone. She even likes her untidy roommate's weird guinea pig. Allison, wait, are you texting and driving? Allison, no. That's the exact opposite of what I was just saying about you. Why, Allison? Why? Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. So I want you to learn to spot a stroke fast. F-A-S-T. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. I'm Paul George. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media, the future of broadcasting. Explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us. Get everything you need for the Kristian Fenix Radio Show over at phoenixmedia.us or on Facebook at facebook.com/Fenix Media Radio. Now back to the show. Well, folks, we made it to the final segment of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show on this Wednesday, February 3rd. But not before we close out the show with This Day in History. Now, if you missed a portion of the show or you want to go back and catch up on any of the previous shows, you can do so. Head over to phoenixmedia.us, click on the show's link, scroll on down to the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. From there, you can get video, you can get audio as well, or head over to wherever you get podcasts. Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor Breaker, TuneIn, iHeart, Doozer, Dozer, Geezer, Gozer.
Are you a god?
How about no?
Doomed us all. While you're there, be sure to subscribe. That way you always have the latest episode. Leave a review. Let us know what you think and tell your friends. Because why, Tony?
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring, which is why, final segment of each show, we drop a little knowledge on you, hopefully make you laugh at the same time. It is time for This Day in History.
Traversing the globe for the stories that turn the world on its head. It's This Day in History with your correspondent on the beat,
Kristian Fenix.
All right, kicking off This Day in History, this day in 1451, Sultan Mehmed II, the Conqueror, inherits the throne of the Ottoman Empire. Of course, in this picture, he looks like he's wearing an ottoman on his head. You know, the kind
He
you put your
does.
feet
It
up
looks like
on.
a big papasan.
Yeah.
My name is Mehmed the Conqueror. Look at the big diaper on my head. It's like an ottoman. You know what it looks like? It looks like this big old beanbag back here.
It does a little bit.
Love sack, yeah.
And that's one of the small ones. I mean, you see
Yeah.
some of these people from the Ottoman Empire, and they're massive. They're just huge headdresses.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. This day in 1863. This one hits a little close to home here. Samuel Clemens first uses the pen name Mark Twain in a Virginia City newspaper, the Territorial Enterprise. Virginia City, about a 30-minute drive due south east from here.
Yeah, if you go to northern Nevada, you got to go to Virginia City. Very cool, historic town. I like how it still has that old town feel. I don't know how people live there, but it is very cool to live. Visit.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people that live there, but it is sort of that Old West. I mean, you step into the Old West. In fact, they do Wild West shows and gunfights and all sorts of things that, bring you back to the Old West. A lot of fun. The mine tours are also well worth a visit. Let's move on.
Absolutely.
This day in 18...
Mark Twain looks crotchety, by the way.
Oh, he always did.
Get off my damn lawn, you old whippersnappers!
This day in 1882, circus owner P.T. Barnum buys his world-famous elephant, Jumbo. Good luck finding any elephants in any circus these days, obviously for animal rights. Circuses now are basically just acrobats and clowns.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I wonder if that's where Dumbo came from. This is my elephant, Jumbo!
The cream of the crop!
I'd imagine. Too close of a name not to be somewhat associated.
Yeah.
Let's move on. This day in 1917, the U.S. liner Housatonic.
Yeah, I think he did that good.
Housatonic is sunk by German submarine on the same day that U.S. President Woodrow Wilson breaks off diplomatic relations with Germany. At least it didn't lead to like a world war or any... Oh, wait. It did.
It did. Oh, we sunk your battleship. Oh, and we're done. I just dumped you. Do you like that? I just told you.
Goodbye.
I'm done with you.
Goodbye. This day in 1931, New Zealand's worst natural disaster, the Hawke's Bay earthquake, kills 256 and injures thousands, devastating Napier and the Hawke's Bay region. It doesn't say where it scored on the Richter scale, or even if Richter measurements were taken at that point in time.
Don't know.
I actually lived through the Northridge earthquake, which I want to say was a 7.1, 7.3. But of course, buildings were much more up to code, much safer, only minor damage.
Only minor.
All right, let's keep moving on. We mentioned this guy yesterday, this day in 1959. Well, yesterday was his last performance because the day the music died, plane crash kills musicians Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, J.P. Richardson, and the pilot near Clear Lake, Iowa. Again, a sad day for music and music history, but it's what makes them infamous at this point.
Yeah, it does, and that was what Lacey chimed in yesterday and said the day the music died, and you said any day we'll probably talk about it. And here you go, and there's a picture of Buddy Holly, aka Finn Wolfhard.
Exactly.
A really good version of that.
This day in 1960, La Dolce Vita, directed by Federico Fellini and starring Marcello Mastroianni and Anita Ekberg, has its film premiere in Italy. Being somebody who went to film school, you always referred to those artsy-fartsy movies as Fellini pictures for this exact reason. He was a little bit on the artsy-fartsy side.
Anita Ekberg looks like she was a smoker back then.
Yeah.
Smoking good looking for her time. La Dolce Vita by Federico Fellini.
Oh, yeah.
Mastroianni.
This day in 1962, U.S. President John F. Kennedy bans all trade with Cuba except for food and drugs, and apparently cars at the same point. If you ever see Cuba these days, it's filled with cars from the 1950s and 60s.
Cuba.
Great
Cuba,
cigars, too.
Which is, they all kind of live in Florida now, to Cuba.
Exactly. Moving on, this in music history, this day, 1967, Purple Haze, recorded by Jimi Hendrix, probably his biggest hit of all time. I wonder what he could have been singing about.
Purple Haze,
I wonder where that purple haze is coming from, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, here's one in sports history.
Woo!
This day in 1980, Larry Holmes, 6 for heavyweight boxing title. That would have been a confusing bout to commentate.
Right there, Holmes takes it to the chunks. Holmes is down for the count, and Holmes is still standing.
Holmes lands a good one on Holmes
for the championship.
That would have been a fun one to watch. Let's move on. This day in 1990, Darryl Strawberry, voluntary voluntarily enters Smither Center for Alcohol Rehabilitation.
Daryl.
I don't know if he needed to go in for
Daryl.
alcohol rehabilitation. Cocaine rehabilitation would
Yeah, I
have
was
been more
gonna say
like it.
he was a cokehead, man. Big time cokehead.
Maybe the treatment is the same for alcohol and cocaine.
He was a hell of a good player. He did have demons though, but he
That
was
he
a hell
did.
of a good baseball player.
That he did. This day in 1993, another dark time in American history, the federal trial of 4 police officers charged with civil rights violations in videotaped beating of Rodney King begins in Los Angeles. Obviously, it leads to the Rodney King riots. And I lived in Los Angeles during that time as well. When the riots broke out, we were supposed to take a field trip into the heart of LA. Needless to say, that field trip didn't happen.
Did not happen. No.
Not
Yikes.
so
I remember
much.
that happening too as a kid. Yikes.
Let's keep moving on. This day in 1998. Boy, it's more stamp talk here on the Kristian Fenix radio show.
Stamp talk.
Stamps commemorating Diana, Princess of Wales, go on sale in Britain. Obviously, this followed her tragic car crash because, as we have found out, stamps cannot be made of someone until they are dead.
And sadly, Princess Diana died in the late 90s, right?
Late
Right.
80s, actually.
Did she
90s?
die in the 80s?
No,
I thought it was the late 90s because she died in that car wreck. I think it was late 90s because I was at Andrew Nixon's house when it happened.
Folks, feel free to fact check us on that because
Friday's not listening today, so she can't chime in.
dare she. All right, and then finally in this day in history, which one do I want to do?
Wow,
let's
did he do it on the same day?
He might have. This day in 2008, Super Bowl, let's see, XL2, that would have been, what, 20, oh boy,
Or is that 47?
47?
No.
27? I don't know. XLII at the University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. The New York Giants beat the New England Patriots 17-14. Eli Manning is the MVP. Eli Manning to me was always more lucky than skillful, and that was the famous head catch as well, right?
Yeah, we were at Hooters down in Colorado, in Denver, off Colorado and I-25, watching that one.
Fun one. Don't like the Giants, don't like Eli Manning, but you know what? They won. They beat Tom Brady. Always happy to see that. But before we close out the day, let's run down some of today's holidays, where we talk about the different things that, well, people are celebrating. For instance, today is American Painters Day. I would assume it's art painting, not house painting. Today is Doggy Date Day. Just hope that doesn't end up the same way that a normal date would. Today's Elmo's birthday, Tony.
Oh, come on, everybody.
That's
my birthday.
It is Four Chaplains
Hello, Mr. Noodle.
Memorial Day, whatever that means. National Girls and Women in Sports Day. It is National Carrot Cake Day. I don't like carrots, but I like carrot cake. It is
I do too.
National Cordova Ice Worm Day. Again, whatever that means. International Golden Retriever Day. National Wedding Ring Day. It is National Signing Day. That's a big one for football. National Patient Recognition Day. National Missing Persons Day. World Read Aloud Day, because if you can't read to yourself, well, read aloud, I guess. It is Take a Cruise Day, the Day the Music Died Day, and of course, National Women Physicians Day. Folks, that does it for our Wednesday episode of the Kristian Fenix Radio Show. We will be back tomorrow on a Thursday with, well, exploring America's penis and the strange things that happen down there. Yes, we're talking Florida Man. Enjoy your Wednesday, folks. We will see you all tomorrow.
Peace.